Hello everyone, welcome to a modern video where I play one of the best modern deck in the format, that is Living End. Living End won the second MOCS showcase. For those of you who don't really follow the Magic Online tournament scene, you have every 3 months a tournament called Showcase Qualifier, where the top 8 gets qualified to a 32 people event, which then the winner will get into another level of event. But it's definitely a very important tournament. This one had over 380 people, and Living End won it. Again, because Living End also won it 3 months ago. It's no surprise that this deck is the most powerful deck if left unchecked. There is definitely a lot of things you can do in order to protect you from this. Flash Storm, Fairy, Time Raveler, Dranith Magistrate, as well as, of course, Graveyard Hate like a Licensed Endurance. Medley Mage. I mean, there's obviously things you can do, but Living End will easily fight, not easily, but like very well fight through the hate with Grief and Force of Negation, and with all your cyclers, you'll get to see those cards. I am not the biggest fan of the deck, but I obviously recognize the power of this deck, and as a content creator, I need to deliver all the top decks to my channel, because I try to make my content very much competitive wise. Okay, you also have a couple of bounce on this list. Some lists play with 2 Subtlety in the main, whereas this one, the one has 2 Borrower. Sorry, has 1 Borrower, 1 Colossal Skyturtle. So that's the main difference that the winner did. You have 1 Otawara, and yeah, everything else is pretty straightforward. Living End. Yeah, there is a couple of Force of Vigor in the side, along with Endurance and Foundation Breaker. Very powerful Cyber card. A very cool land is the Sunken Ruin. It's here mostly to be able to Arcast your Grief or your Street Wraith in the late game. I've seen sometimes people playing with Urborg, because that gives the Swamp Walk to Street Wraith, and Sunken Ruins is maybe better because you're able to just flood double blue and be able to cast your Subtlety, Force of Negation, Curator of Mysteries, and so on. Okay. Sideboarding with this deck is very challenging. I mean, I might say that a lot, but this deck really doesn't have anything to take out in most of its matchups. So that will be something where I might be struggling on. Alright, I'm on the play. Let's go. No companions. What do I have here? Well, I have a very good hand, so let's keep. Okay. Let's go. I am on the play. Do I want to go turn 1 Street Wraith here? I think I'm gonna begin with cycling River Striped Riverwinder first, because if I find a Living End, I'll pitch that one to Street Wraith. To Grief, sorry. I think I'm gonna Grief now. The reason being, my opponent might have like an annoying turn 1 play, and in the dark, I'd rather Grief them turn 1. Okay, I'm playing against Burn, which didn't even keep a particularly strong hand, so I feel like we're gonna... I mean, I guess obviously I need to draw a green source if I want to be able to Living End on turn 3, but I feel good here. Alright. Rift Bolt. Draw. Okay, Wicker of Waves. Yeah, I'm probably just doing this. This digs deeper to find a land on turn 3. No reason to do this now. I don't have a black card for Grief. So it's important that you realize, when do I need to cycle in my turn to draw Grief or a black card, and when do I need to just pass and not give my opponent any options, and also get more options with the Wicker of Waves. Okay. Alright, interesting that they don't Lava Spike. That means to me that they drew a Boros Charm. Alright, never mind. I'm going to this now, because if I find a Force of Negation, yeah, exactly like this, I might want to force that. Actually, though, I don't have, don't think I want to pitch the Striped Riverwinder, because I need to cycle this to find a green land if I brick. Obviously, when I said I'm gonna win the games back, I was counting on drawing a green land before the end. If you don't, you lose. There's not much you can do about it. Okay, opponent passes. I take a draw here. What is it? Yeah. I'll do this because I want to find a land. And I could have found a fetch land to just, fetch a Breeding Pool tapped. There is also basic forest, but then you need to draw exactly Misty Rainforest. The opponent has 3 cards in hand. Let's see what they do here. Skull Crack. I go down to 6. You can't force a negation a spell in your opponent's turn. I got 3 life, and they have 1 card in hand now. Skew the critics. Counter this. Should have pitched this one. That was a mistake. Because if I reanimate the Architects of Will, maybe it's relevant. Alright, let's attempt to draw Misty Rainforest here. A grief. They have no cards in hand. Going down to 1. Yes. Opponent takes a draw and passes. I take a draw. And I will be playing, yeah, I wish I had Architects of Will in the graveyard. That was actually a mistake here. Yeah, really wish I had Architects of Will. Alright, so what I'm gonna do now is draw step, Outburst. Because I'm gonna reanimate the Grief here, and if my opponent drew a... If opponent drew a sorcery, then I'm gonna be able to discard it with Grief. But it drew an instant, so I'm gonna lose. Yeah, actually, pretty funny that I actually made a big mistake that didn't really feel like a big mistake, but it was. So when I pitched this instead of Curator of Mysteries, now I could have done this in my turn and put a Boros Charm like 3rd and just win the game that way. All right, cool. There was a combination of course, not drawing the right card, but, Magic the Gathering, even the smallest mistake that you might make because you're frustrated about how things are going, things were still in my control, but I was a little bit frustrated, and I just didn't think about how I was playing. So, a life lesson of, not life lesson, but like a lesson on how you should never lose your focus on Magic, and don't let your emotion of, oh, I'm being unlucky, take over the game and actually just make you lose the game because of that. Okay, so now my opponent is going to bring in the Rolling Vortex here. I dislike the Waker of Waves. Street Wraith isn't good either. You do need to keep some amount of black cards. I'm gonna keep the Street Wraith here. Yep, let's go with this. Subtlety is of course very good at answering the Eidolon of Great Revel. Yeah, we could have brought in Leyline of Sanctity. Not the biggest fan of Leyline of Sanctity. I like it mostly for endurance. I think on the play we can do without. I want a Grief on turn 1. Because a goblin guy might be very annoying. I think I'm actually griefing on turn 1. So this way I'm reducing the odds of my opponent to draw a... Or exactly, Rolling Vortex. Yeah, that's what I'm taking. And that's fine, I think I pass. Lava Spike, or do you draw a creature? Okay. Not digging for Force of Negation here. Alright, now I need to... draw the Cascade card now. Maybe Subtlety shouldn't be here. Waker of Waves would be amazing. Maybe that's a regret I'm having, is to have Subtlety over Waker of Waves. I'm on 11, potentially 5. I need to go off next turn or I'm dead here. Skyturtle gets back the Striped Riverwinder. Take a draw. I'll fetch an island. No, actually, let's just cycle first. Yeah, unfortunately felt prey of the few corner cases where this deck actually fizzles. The first one was when I didn't draw the third land, and the second one is when you don't draw the Cascade card. Despite, you know, this deck has all the cantrips to dig for what it misses. This Subtlety are hurting me a lot. Like, if these were Waker of Waves, or Leyline of Sanctity as well, I don't remember if I had one in my opening hand, but if I did, then I would have been able to, you know, put into play a Leyline of Sanctity, and that would have helped me big time. Opponent has 0 cards in hand, but they have 2 Sunbaked Canian, so it's unlikely that they're gonna brick as much as they did in game 1. Alright, good games. I'm really not sure about this Leyline, because I was thinking that, I mean, actually that's true though, if you think about it. If this deck does its thing and doesn't really stumble, you don't need a Leyline to win this matchup, because your Goldfish is much faster than theirs. Obviously, if your things don't go right, they're gonna kill you. Alright. Sure. No reason to cycle in my turn, because I don't have a black card. If I had a black card, I would have cycled in my turn to go for a turn 1 grief. So I think in the dark, it's okay to go turn 1 grief, because your opponent might go like turn 1 Thoughtseize, take your Shardless. But in the non-dark, you can think about when to wait on griefing your opponent. Our opponent is smallest 6, so... Plus, like, going Spirebluff Canal go, I think, puts you into the blue-red Murktide territory. Not that it matters, but... Okay, I'm gonna cycle in response, because this I might find Force of Negation here. I definitely would Force of Negation the Expedition map. Charlie's on 0. If I find a Force of Negation now. I don't. Charlie's on 0 is a big deal. Plus they have Tron. I'm not gonna get out of this. They're gonna both Tron me and have a 7 mana next turn. That's a combination that this one unfortunately can only bounce a creature. It's not like Brazen Borrower. I'm looking for Brazen Borrower here. And pass. Opponent goes to 7 mana. Plays a TKS. Still play now because, well, if I draw a Brazen Borrower, I can easily just bounce the Chalice end of turn and then untap Cascade, but... yeah, against Burn you have Grief that you return with Leaving End, so very often you're able to do that. Okay, I'll do this again. I'll Grief my opponent. Remember, Grief doesn't matter the Chalice. They probably don't have very much, and I bet they could. Yeah, I have Karn, perfect. Glad I did what I did. Yeah, pass. I don't think I want to cycle this. I might just Arcast it. Ooh, they have Scavenger Grounds? Lol. Yeah. So greedy that they don't play There's the Saga. Alright. Let's hope they go for a Torma script. And they cast it. I think they will. No Relic. Alright, I'll lose. Good game. Sideboard against Eldrazi Tron. I'm gonna have these 4 for sure, and I'm guessing once again Subtlety. The previously mentioned is really hard to sideboard with this deck. I think the best thing to do with this deck is trimming. It's trimming copies of cards. I remember this was the thing that I was doing in the past. Just trimming one of each whenever you're bringing in a lot of 8. Let's go. Happy with the Brazen Borrower. That's an answer to Chalice. That also goes through Welding Jar, which my opponent plays. I have Leaving End in hand, so I'm gonna cycle the Waker of Waves here. Actually, that's not true, though. Oh, yeah, it is. That's exactly the goal of this deck. You grief them on turn 2, and then you cast Shardless on turn 3, bring back 4 thing, and your opponent just look at their hand. They even have Natural Tron, but I'm pretty sure they will be unable to do anything relevant here. I'll take the Karn because Leaving End actually brings back your opponent graveyard as well. Sorry, your opponent graveyard's creature as well. Buongiorno, Silver Librarian. Nice draw, Force of Negation on top of it. Well, my opponent might have the counter. So I'm gonna play my opponent's turn to play around Warping Whale. Yeah, I'll target them all. That's a chalice. Okay, so I'm gonna take what? A Karn. And then I'll counter the other Karn. Alright, so their hand is... How many lands they have? They have 2 lands, so I'm gonna make them draw a land here. First, I guess you can draw Chalice of the Void. So we finally did this deck's things, which are, you know, interrupt your opponent, leaving end on turn 3. And if you do this more often, you win the games. If you fail to do that, like we did in the first match, then it's gonna be harder to win. Yeah, double interaction, grief, and force of negation by turn 3. How much damage do I have here? 7, 10, 17. Okay, it's not enough. Well, I know they're top of the deck, so might as well just attack with all pass here. They should have blocked the 7/7. Not sure why they didn't. And pass again. It doesn't really matter. Once you reanimate with living end, it's not like with Team of Rhinos that that your opponent can easily go through. Like they just play a 5/5 or Entity Smasher, and then and then I need something else. Whereas with living end, once you reanimate, it's like impossible for them to. It's impossible for them to come back. I mean, taking out these 3 sounds like super weird, right? But at the same time, you don't want to shrink too much of your plan. Considering that I'm on the draw now, I think I want to bring in Force of Negation, taking out a second Grief. Alright, very nice hand. We got answer for a artifact permanent. This can count as a pitch. We got River Striped Riverwinder, turn 1. I cycle now because of the living end. Because of the living end draw, we can draw a Grief, and then we drew a black pitch. Very cool that with Grief you have a reason to, you know, have those living end in end, which are otherwise dead draws. No reason for me to just bin this without any target. There's Scavenger Grounds in their deck. Let's see if they tutor it up now. Yep, there it is. Scavenger Grounds, a pretty cool way for them to... Alright. They got Chalice on 0. Now, this is interesting. Because I can force a negation this. Teaching Subtlety, so that any land makes me able to cast a Shardless. But at the same time, I can't just let this go and then Foundation Breaker it. Yeah, and I keep this for Karn. Alright, cool. Very curious to know if I should Grief now. Or wait for the post-living end. Because now I have a lined up play if they play... The thing is that, since they have Scavenger Grounds, they can't really do much. Either they pop the ground now, or they can't really tap out. So I don't think I want to play Grief right now. Like, ideally... Yeah, that Scavenger Grounds is actually a pain, because I drew both of my living end, meaning that I only have one living end left. So I can't really bait my opponent into cracking this and then casting a new living end, because I drew all the living end. So I think that I'm actually losing this game, of course, because I drew 2 living end, and this is another check for another living end. I can't do anything about this land. I can't bounce it or counter it. So the game of this, the game plan of this game revolves around the fact that I drew this 2 living end, which I can't do anything about. I could cast my cards. Alright, I think since I drew another one. And what I wish to happen is my opponent cracks this. It's not gonna happen though. Okay, so they have this Warping Whale, which, you know, counters my spell, but I don't care about it. I don't care about living end anymore, because I don't think that's my plan anymore. What's my plan? I don't know. I don't think I have it right now. I'm just taking thought notes here, but it's really hard, I want to say. Alright, they don't move. I really wish they would, but they don't move. This is a spot where... Yeah, I really wish the opponent moved here. Do I need to play this Architects of Will? I think... yeah. Thing is, if I pitch a second living end, opponent knows I only have 1 living end left. I guess some people play 4. I don't think I'm gonna cast this Grief, because one of my few outs to win the game is if I draw the Sunken Ruin and start our casting. Yeah. Ideally here I draw land, and I can Subtlety the Smasher. I just can't move, I think. I just can't move here. They drew... Oh, wow, they drew Tron. Ay, ay, ay. What? They don't do anything? I guess they didn't realize they have Tron? They even have this Thought that's here in the graveyard now. Oh, wow. Eugene the Ineffable. Eugene, I think it's Chalice of the Void. I think might as well Force of Negation, right? I mean, I know their whole end. And I don't have anything to do with my mana anyway. I could Subtlety this. It's not a bad idea. My opponent's Black Tron? No, it's Prison Tron. They have to play a Swamp because of Boseiju. Yeah, I think I'm gonna Subtlety. I really do not know what my plan is, to be honest with you. I don't think I can get out of this game. They have both Scavenger Grounds. I mean, Warping Wheel, again, doesn't really matter, because I can just set up the Outburst end of turn. And the unfortunate thing is that I drew all my living ends. So I only have 1 living end left, and my opponent just checks it with Scavenger Grounds. That's it. Unfortunately, lost. 0-2. Don't think I could have done much this match. There's certainly things I could... I mean, that's the thing with playing this deck. Sometimes, you know, losses are... In Magic in general, losses are usually out of... Some losses are out of your hands. But more so with a deck that, you know, can get unlucky and draw its living ends. And that's it. There is, well, usually the Eldrazi Tron deck plays Island because of Spellskite. Although my opponent was playing a version with Matter Reshaper, so that was very much Eldrazi Tron. So the Swamp was because of this member. The thing is, you really shouldn't lose game ones with this deck, so... the main deck Chalice of the Void was a big deal. Alright, join match. Yeah, Scavenger Grounds. The thing with Scavenger Grounds is that you can set up two living end, right? One living end, they crack the graveyard, then you rebuild the graveyard, and then you go off again. But I couldn't do that in game 3. When is playing with Yorin Sky Nomad. Street Wraith, I think I'm gonna keep this end. It's a one-lander, but we have several cyclers. I think that even if I draw Grief, I'm not casting it turn 1 with Street Wraith against Yorion. So I'm passing for now. Yorion Hammer, that's a new one. I think that's worth of a screenshot. I drew a living end right on time. Do I want to Force of Negation this? Let me cycle again. The thing is that I have Brazen Borrower to bounce the Colossal Hammer. So I think I'm not gonna use Force. Because they might play like Spell Pierce and things like that. So I want to go Violent Outburst in my opponent's turn to protect it with Force of Negation. Alright, pass. We got Grief, Pitch Living End. Need to draw a land though. Fail to do so. Um. Hmm. The Stoneforge Mystic can go like Hydra Complete. But then I can bounce the Complete. Maybe Netos is... Nah, I'm taking the Stoneforge Mystic. Go ahead. Sure, I'm not countering those. I think I'm gonna pass here. This way I have both Brazen Borrower and this Light of Hand from the Waker of Waves. I'm going to take a Steam Vents here so that any land will make me play the Outburst. Certainly not taking the Leaving End there. Don't worry. Broadcast Nettlecyst. Sure. Then in my opponent's main phase, when they tap the Saga, I'm going to be playing the Outburst. Not in draw step, because I have Force of Negation if the draw spell appears. So first I want to see what do you do with Saga, and then I play Outburst. Alright. The float mana, meaning that I now go for the Outburst before they find something like Relic of Progenitus. I'll bring in this 4. I don't think I want Subtlety now. I think this is a matchup where I don't mind taking out the Sunken Ruin. What I knew about Sunken Ruin was in these low matchups you don't need it. Sorry, in the fast matchups you don't need it. You think consider also Subtlety. Over maybe one more Waker of Waves. Taking out all these cyclers certainly hurts you though. Yeah. I mean, this is a matchup where the more you sideboard, the worse your deck gets. Surely you need answers for your opponent things, but as you saw against Burn, I drew all those Subtlety and they did nothing and I lost. Where maybe if they were cyclers, I would have reached my Cascade cards faster, so... This deck is definitely not good if you're one of those over sideboarding type of player. I keep on keeping one landers. I think it's bad in this deck. Keep one landers. This is definitely one of the decks that can't afford to keep one landers. I decided not to counter Sigarda's Aid. Thank you to Dr. Phoenix. Thank you so much. 7 months. So much time. Thank you, thank you. City Shaper gifts. Maybe I could have countered that. I was figuring out the volume and I didn't pay attention. Opponent now can get the reality chip. Maybe, though. Maybe they just get hammer. Yeah, they got a chip. Okay. Again, the reason for me to cycle now. Jorgen Hammer. Yeah, this player is a very renowned, one of the best Hammer player, and they're just probably just trying to see how much they can meme and still win. Buongiorno Pivo. Buon lavoro Pivo. Playing Drew Lavinia, Azorius Renegade. I'm going to cycle this. I am going to cycle this and pass. Buongiorno, buongiorno, Pivo. Force of Vigor. I can still Arcast Force of Negation. I'm not finding the Cascade spell, so I'm gonna keep this Borrower for the time where I drew the Cascade spell. Unfortunately, this is a creature. I really can't bounce the Lavinia there. I'm gonna counter MOCS Opal. Put in as Thought Monitor and a mystery card in hand. Second Leaving End has approached. I do this now, hoping their card in hand isn't Spell Pierce. Or the card on top isn't Spell Pierce. Alright. Two cards in hand. I'll get 11. I need to draw a Cascade spell here. I'm still in a great shape if I do, because I can bounce this end of turn and then cast a Cascade spell. I'll pass because I might just need to force the negation up. What's it called? Hummer. Ideally, I cycle this Curator of Mysteries on the turn and draw a Cascade spell so I can bounce Lavinia and then just win the game in my turn. I go to 5, so I'm gonna be dying soon here. And again, this is one of those fail cases in which just this deck stops functioning and you just lose. Alright, there it is. Perfect. So now end of turn, I'm going to bounce the Lavinia. Untap. And play Shardless. Now I have to hope my opponent doesn't draw a Spell Pierce. My last Leaving End. They will reanimate Reality Chip and Stoneforge Mystic, but my board state is quite big now. Plus, funnily enough, up and up, so opponent trigger goes on the stack first in my turn, so they're gonna pick up an artifact, and then I grief them. If it was reversed, if I was in, I don't know, outbursting in their upkeep, then they would be getting griefed first, and then tutor up the artifact. Very, very long text for Reality Chip. Legendary artifact creature, equipment jellyfish. That's the nature of this deck, honestly. You can sculpture plenty around it so much and you just don't draw the Cascade spell and you do nothing. Or you do and your deck is excellent, so... Yeah, I'm not the most... you don't have that much control over this deck choices. Alright, I'll take a bathroom break and I'll be back. What's jellyfish in Italian? Medusa. I'll be back in a second, chat. Don't go anywhere. Round number 4. I am on the play. And my hand is amazing. There's no reason for me to cycle on turn 1. Again, remember, cycling on turn 1, you always have to think about, what do I want to draw? Do I want to draw Grief? Or do I want to just let my opponent think that I am Spirebluff Canal, Blue Murktide? Ooh, mill. That's a, oof. So, let me think about this matchup now. My opponent can easily surgical my living end if they mill it, but otherwise, of course, if I manage to resolve one of these, I win. So, this is an interesting matchup. I hope I draw land so I don't have to fetch. If I need to fetch, my opponent can go mill, and then... Sorry, mill 13, and then surgical. But at the end of the day, I need to find a third land, so I have to hope my opponent just doesn't draw surgical. The crab are coming. Yes, indeed. The crabs are coming. Don't mill living end. Oh, they milled themselves? What? Oh, because of playing around. Oh, I understand. I see what they're doing. Not sure I agree with, but alright. Hey, I have to play Waker of Waves. At this point, I'm pretty positive they don't have surgical, or they 100% would mill me. Sure, I love Grief here. Amazing draw. Oh, the Crypt Incursion. I don't know what to do. I'll take Crypt Incursion. Okay, easy game. Just go for it. Turn 2 Grief, turn 3 Shardless. GG Voopy. I have to think about not losing to, like, they just surgical my living end. I need to have like a B plan of just beat down with endurance and things like that. Maybe I just take out one of these Cascade cards. Leyline does very little once again. I think Leyline is mostly for the endurance matchups. Mystical Dispute, yeah. It's so hard to cyber with this deck because you never want to overboard. You never want to overboard, and you always end up doing so, and your deck always gets worse post sideboard. For multiple reasons, mostly because your opponent sides in like strong cards against you, like Flusterstorm and things like that. That's why I kept in four Grief in this matchup. It's to disrupt the Flusterstorm. Alright, the mill is 6. I don't think this is a game where I can beat surgical. Yeah, my hand is just all in. I have too many lands, Living End, and 2 of this. So I guess my hope is that they don't mill Living End. Oh, there it is. I could die now. Hello, Aphraphesis. Welcome. Went with 4 cards in hand. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay. Let's see if I draw an Endurance now to target myself. Oh, wow, I do? Oh, wow. Okay, let's do it. So I can go Endurance. What do I pitch? Is there a preference? What do I pitch? Pitch Outburst. So it's important that I Evoke goes last. So So Evoke goes last, right? So first I tuck my graveyard and then the Endurance dies. Yeah. So first I tuck my graveyard and then the Endurance goes in the graveyard and then Surgical gets countered. Draw. Okay, they have 3 cards in hand. Alright. A pass. I was thinking Agent is relevant here because, well, I didn't have this. I might have a super tiny graveyard and the 2/2 actually matters. That's what I thought. Because I don't have a graveyard right now. Yeah, okay. They have 2 cards in hand. They pass. How many Living End have left? Alright, yeah, all of them. Didn't pitch any to Grief yet. See if they mill 13. They have 2 cards in hand. They don't mill 13. Alright, untap and draw. So I have Grief in my deck. So I don't think I mind going for a Waker of Waves here. Otawara. I like it. I like Otawara. Do I want to cycle now? I don't think so. I'm just gonna fetch in my turn so that my opponent draws. Yeah, like I don't wanna. I can't fetch for Island because I have it in my hand. And my opponent doesn't have the mill 13 cards. So maybe I just get a tap land here or untap land. Yeah, I just get an untap land here and pass. I'll get a green land because of Endurance Artcast. Okay, opponent doesn't have any land. And now I'm thinking if I should I'll do this now. Huh. I'll do this now. I'm gonna play land and I'm gonna play Shardless Agent. Cascade. I have 2 Living End in my deck. So I can use one as a bait for this Lantern. Which also rats their board, remember. Wow, they don't crack the Lantern? That must be a misclick. I was ready. I didn't cycle this because I was ready for them to crack this. And then I would cycle this. But I guess I didn't need it. Should I hold this to cast it with the Sunken Ruin? Yeah, probably. Thank you, Kiori, for the clip. I'm gonna save it. Alright, they draw a card. Okay. And that's the strength of Living End. It's also a Wrath effect. It's not simply an Earth. Okay, opponent has 4 cards in hand. Oh, just on top, again, I want to cast this. They do have a Flooded Strand, so they can now shuffle their deck, but... I don't know. Maybe they crack it now. Maybe not. Yeah, it really makes very little sense to cast this now. Maybe I should cycle it. Pretty cool that we managed to beat a Surgical on Living Hand with that top deck Endurance. Ghost Quarter. Okay. Was I thinking of Otawara or Lantern Shardless Agent for Living End? No. I think it's better to... Yeah, bait the Living End, this Lantern there, and then just cycle the 3-turn response and attack for 5. Again, whoa. Again, this is the reason why I kept the Shardless, because of a 2-2 beater. Alright, I can Otawara my Shardless Agent. I guess I should just Colossal Skyturtle it. They're animate, yeah. I Colossal Skyturtle the Shardless Agent. I should have probably actually in this game gone Skyturtle the Grief and Grief Living End, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, let's bring this guy back. Let's hope not to draw Living End for turn. Yeah, let's do it. The last Living End of my deck. I guess you could outcast it. Oh wow, it's near a bridge. I have the combination of Grief plus Architects of Will, so you both check their hand to see what's annoying and check the top to see what's annoying. Alright. Turning this league around with a 2-2 so far. Let's hope we can get a 3-2. Otawara can answer bridge. Yep. So let's play 2 Otawara. This list that won the MOCS plays 1 Sunken Ruin, 1 Otawara. On the play for the last match, I have 2 redraws, 3 redraws to get a second land, and if I draw it in the top 2 cards, I can cast a Waker of Waves on turn 2. I cycle main phase because of Grief. I have a black card in hand. Okay, so Lens isn't a problem anymore. Now we need to find the Cascade spells. Hello, young Peasy. You wanna find a deck tech available? Well, if you write my name, Mengucci Andrea, and just literally any deck in Modern on YouTube, you're gonna find a video. The last time I've played this deck was 4 months ago, so I decided to make an update, but the list didn't change at all. Okay, that's the grief. Let me grief you, and then I'll play Waker of Waves. The Modern content is endless if you search it on the YouTube channel or on channel Fireball. Okay, I'll take Burning Inquiry, right? I guess I can Force of Negation that one. Maybe, what should I take here? Nah, I guess I'm taking the Inquiry. I can just, yeah. Six cards for them. I can't really do much outside of casting a Blazing Root, Vala. Did I find a Cascade spell? There it is. Good deck, chat. Very good deck. Once you're in the 2-2 bracket, this deck starts drawing well. Turn 3, 20 power with Grief and Force of Negation backup. The classic Living End experience has been served to our opponent. Vrathu. I guess you have Street Wraith. Bene. Now, my opponent's probably gonna have what? The Leyline of Sanctity, I'm assuming. Maybe for no, I think keep Force of Negation. Endurance is good. I don't think so. Oh, you mean they fill the graveyard for my Living End? Nah, I don't think so. Flameblade Adept. No Leyline of Sanctity. Of the Void, sorry. Pass. Hoping to draw Force of Negation to counter the Goblin Lore. So we'll get Lantern. That too. Ay, annoying. No! Okay, nothing really mattered. Wow, did this go to Vengevine? No, don't play another one. Oh, okay. Alright, I take 4. Now, I'll play Foundation Breaker. I'll go for a Forest because my opponent's beating me down here. Kill Lantern, not Hollow One. Oh, thank God they didn't wait because I put them on the stock in a random order. Should have put Evoke last, but didn't matter, thankfully. Okay, they got 3 cards. They can attack me for 5. Let's see if they have something else. 2 cards in hand. Nothing. Good. Draw. So let's dig for a Allora, first I want to fetch for Island. So that if I find Island in the top 2 cards, I don't need to shock myself. Then I want to do this. Let me think, because do I need to play Shardless Agent now? No, not really. I have 2 Vengevines. Never mind. Alright, let's see if I find a Grief then. Or Force of Negation. Or nothing. Do I get a tap land or a bolt land? Because I already fetched for both of my... I think I'm actually getting a tap land. I know it sucks, but... Alright, that's a Force of Negation. That's a good draw. Meaning that if opponent draws a thing with that one, I can counter the Goblin Lurer. Or the other one. Hopefully they don't play Endurance. They could have Endurance, yeah. Endurance would be backbreaking. Void Mirror. Thank God I drew this Force of Negation. What do I pitch? I'll pitch this one, because if I draw Grief, I can cast it. I don't want to go to 2. Let's just go Shardless Agent, simply. They have 2 cards in hand. Hope it's not Endurance green card. They will reanimate 2 Vengevines, but my graveyard is also very large. No, oh, it's a May, thank God. No. Okay, so this is your top of the deck, huh? Alright. I'll let you draw the Void Mirror now. And the reason why I took the Spirebluff Canal is exactly for this. Just to play your top lane without going to 3. And pass. So I believe that you should always have one of these Architects of Will in your graveyard. Okay, 0-2-3-2. The first 2 losses were really close slash misfortune games. That's okay. I mean, one of the best deck in the format. Delivered a fast and yeah, just did the job.